I finally understood what studying really meant when I saw my girlfriend step out of her tutor's bedroom, wearing nothing but his oversized Princeton t-shirt. My name is Ben. I'm 27, and I'd been with Isabella, 25, for 2 years. We moved in together 8 months ago, and for the most part, life was good. We had our little routines. Sunday morning farmer's market, trying out new recipes together, binging a series until we fell asleep on the couch. I thought we were building a future. I was wrong. The trouble started subtly, about 3 months ago. Isabella started a new role as a junior architect at a prestigious firm. The workload was intense, and she was determined to prove herself. That's when she first mentioned David, 30, as senior architect at the firm. According to her, he was a genius, a prodigy who had graduated top of his class from Columbia and was now taking her under his wing. He'd offered to tutor her for the grueling architect registration exam, a test that could fast-track her career. Initially, I was supportive. Isabella was ambitious and brilliant, and she deserved every opportunity. The problem was the setup. These tutoring sessions always took place at David's loft in the Arts District. They would start around 8 p.m., and Isabella wouldn't stumble through our apartment door until 2 or 3 in the morning. When I asked why they couldn't use our spacious dining table or a quiet corner at the office library, she had her reasons ready. David had all his original study materials and complex architectural models at his place, and the office was too distracting after hours. But the details didn't add up. They never do they? First, her phone would go dark. I'd text her around 9 p.m. to see if she wanted me to pick up anything for breakfast, or at 11 p.m. to say goodnight. No response. When I'd mention it the next day, she'd sigh and say, "Ben, we're in the zone." David says no distractions. It's the only way to absorb this dense material. Yet, in every other aspect of her life, she was glued to her phone, a rapid-fire responder. Second, the scent. She'd come home smelling not of ink and paper, but of gin and tonic. Her explanation? A nightcap helps me unwind after focusing so hard. David has a well-stocked bar. The Isabella, the first knew, drank a glass of Prosecco at a wedding. She didn't do nightcaps. Third, the frequency. These sessions happen 2, sometimes 3 times a week. For 3 months. That's a lot of unwinding. Fourth, my attempt to be the supportive boyfriend backfired spectacularly. One Tuesday, I offered to bring over a homemade lasagna, thinking they must be starving. Her reaction was immediate and sharp. No, that would be incredibly awkward and disruptive. This is a professional environment, Ben, not a dinner party. Fifth, and most painfully, any attempt to voice my discomfort was met with a nuclear-level accusation. "I can't believe you don't trust me," she'd say, her voice dripping with disappointment. "You're being so insecure. This is my career. Are you trying to hold me back?" What gnawed at me most was that Isabella had other options. She was part of a cohort of junior architects, including her close friend from college, Rachel, who were all studying for the same exam. When I gently pointed this out, she shut me down. David is the only one who aced the structural engineering section on his first try. His methods are unique. The others would just slow me down. The breaking point came on a Thursday. Isabella left for a session at 7:30 p.m. I texted at 10 p.m., "Hope it's going well. Miss you." Radio silence. I called at 11:45 p.m. It went straight to voicemail. She finally came home at 3 a.m., her speech slightly slurred, her eyes glassy. When I expressed my worry, she looked at me with pure contempt. "You're suffocating me, Ben. This possessive act is not attractive." The next morning, over coffee, I tried one last time. "Isabella, I love you, and I support your career 100%. But these late nights at his place, the drinking, the dead phone, it doesn't feel right to me. Can we please find another way? A study group at our place? Anything." She exploded. There it is again. Your lack of trust. David is mentoring me. He's investing in my success. And you're so threatened by that? Maybe the problem isn't my study habits, Ben. Maybe it's you. She then stormed out and spent the day giving me the silent treatment. Later, I saw a text notification from her sister on her iPad, which was left on the coffee table. He's being toxic and controlling. You don't need that. I felt like I was in a funhouse mirror version of my own life. Was I the unreasonable, jealous boyfriend? Or were my concerns the perfectly logical response to a pile of red flags I could no longer ignore? I turned to an online forum, laying out the entire situation. The response was overwhelming and almost unanimous. Comment 1. NTA? Buddy, I've been there. Studying until 3 a.m. with Jen involved isn't studying. It's dating. Her defensiveness is the clearest sign of all. You're not controlling for having boundaries. My reply: thank you. I've been second-guessing my own sanity. It helps to hear this. Comment 2. Trust your gut. I ignored similar signs with my ex-fiancée. The phone being off is the biggest red flag. What if there was a real emergency? She's choosing to be unreachable for him. Comment 3. I'm an architect. The R is brutal, but nobody needs to study one-on-one at a senior's private loft until 3 a.m. with alcohol. That's not a thing. Study groups, review courses, libraries. These are the things that are a thing. Comment 4. YTA for not trusting her. She's an adult. If you can't handle her having a male mentor, that's a you problem. Even with the dissent, the collective wisdom validated my feelings. I wasn't crazy. Bolstered by this, I decided on one more calm, rational conversation. That evening, I approached her. Isabella, can we talk? I want to understand. She was initially receptive. I asked why it had to be David's loft, why the late hours. She gave me the same script, the materials, the quiet, the focus. When I brought up the alcohol, she admitted, we sometimes have a drink or two. It takes the edge off. It helps. It feels social, not academic, I said gently. Her face hardened. You're interpreting it wrong. You always do. Then I asked the question that seemed to flip a switch. Could I meet him? Maybe we could all grab a coffee sometime. Her reaction was instantaneous and fierce. Absolutely not. That would be completely inappropriate. It would blur professional boundaries and make things incredibly awkward for me at work. But you've introduced me to other colleagues before, I countered. David is different, she insisted. This is a pure mentor-mentee relationship. Involving my personal life would ruin it. I suggested compromises, studying at our apartment just one night a week, or me picking her up so she wouldn't have to take a late ride share. She refused everyone, accusing me of trying to insert myself into her professional growth and sabotage her chances. The conversation ended with an ultimatum from her. If you can't trust me, Ben, then maybe we shouldn't be together. I'm not going to let your insecurity derail my career. I was devastated, but the universe, it seems, has a sense of irony. The next day, I ran into Rachel, Isabella's friend from college and work, at our local coffee shop. Ben, hey, she said, looking concerned. Is everything okay with you and Isabella? She said you two were having some issues. I was hesitant, but Rachel was always genuine. Yeah, a bit of a rough patch, I admitted. It's not about the R, is it? She asked. I was thinking of asking if I could join her study sessions with David. I know he's a whiz with the structures portion, and God knows I need the help. I froze. Join them? Yeah, her sessions with David. I figured it was a group thing, which is why I hadn't asked yet. I didn't want to intrude. My heart sank. Rachel, it's not a group. It's just the two of them. At his loft, late into the night. Rachel's face shifted from casual curiosity to deep concern. What? No, that can't be right. Several of us are studying for the exam. We've asked her to form a group. She said she was studying alone with online modules. She leaned closer. Ben, David isn't even known for being a structures expert. That's Michael on the fourth floor. And David, he has a bitter reputation. Nothing concrete, but whispers. This is really, really weird. The confirmation felt like both a vindication and a punch to the gut. If this was all above board, why the elaborate lie to her colleagues? Why refuse a more effective study group? When Isabella came home that night, I was waiting. I saw Rachel today. I began. Her face immediately tightened. And what did you say to her? She thought your sessions with David were a group study. She was surprised to hear it was just the two of you. She also mentioned that you told your colleagues you were studying alone and that David isn't actually the structures guru you made him out to be. The mask slipped completely. You had no right to talk to my friends about our private business. You're trying to turn people against me. You're obsessed with controlling me. I'm not controlling you, Isabella. I'm asking for honesty. If this is all so innocent, why the secrecy? Why not let Rachel join for one session? Because it would ruin the dynamic, she shouted. He teaches me in a specific way. Other people would ruin it. This is my process, and you're interrogating me like I'm a criminal. She was screaming. I was trying to stay calm, and the chasm between us felt infinite. She ended the fight by declaring, I'm going to David's tomorrow night. If you have a problem with it, you know where the door is. She then moved her pillow to the sofa and hasn't spoken to me since. I was lost. Her words spun a plausible tale, but her actions screamed a different, uglier truth. The advice from the forum echoed in my head. Just go over there. You'll have your answer. It felt invasive, desperate, but staying in this limbo of doubt was its own kind of hell. So I decided to end the limbo. Last night, she left at 8 p.m., giving me a perfunctory peck on the cheek. I waited an hour, my stomach in knots. Then I drove to David's building, a modern loft conversion in a trendy part of the city. My flimsy excuse was a box of pastries from her favorite bakery. I found his unit number from the lobby directory and rode the elevator up, my heart hammering against my ribs. I stood outside his door. I could hear low music playing, smooth jazz, not the focused silence of intense study. I knocked. Several moments passed, filled with the sound of shuffling and hushed, urgent voices. Finally, the door opened. David stood there, looking disheveled. His shirt was untucked, his hair messy. Ben? Hey. Isabella's just wrapping up. I looked past him. The loft was open plan. There were no books, no blueprints, no trace of architectural models. On the low-glass coffee table sat 2 half-empty glasses of red wine and a cheese board. The large TV screen was paused on a scene from Before Sunrise. Can I come in? I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. This isn't really a good time, man, he said, trying to block the view. That's when I heard Isabella's voice, lazy and relaxed, call out from the direction of the bedroom. David, who was it? Is the food here? I didn't wait. I pushed past David. Isabella emerged from the bedroom doorway, and the world stopped. She was wearing a man's dress shirt, his shirt, and nothing else. It was unbuttoned just enough to leave no doubt. Her hair was tangled, and she had that specific soft, post-intimacy glow I knew so well from our own lazy Sunday mornings. Time froze. The three of us stood in a triangle of shock and horror. Isabella, I said, my voice cold and flat. Fascinating study method. Can you walk me through the curriculum? This isn't what it looks like, she gasped, frantically pulling the shirt closed. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Please explain it to me then. Explain what this is, because it looks an awful lot like my girlfriend coming out of your tutor's bedroom half naked. Turn that off, she shrieked, lunging for the phone, but I held it steady. David looked pale. Ben, listen, it happened. How long? I asked, my eyes locked on Isabella. Stop it, Ben. Get out. You're violating our privacy, she screamed. How long, Isabella? I repeated, my voice rising. A few weeks, David mumbled, looking at the floor. It just started a few weeks ago. The admission, though expected, was a physical blow. Isabella was crying now, tears of rage and shame. We need to talk about this at home, she pleaded. Please, just come home with me. There's no home with you anymore, I said, lowering the phone. We're done. Get your things from my apartment tomorrow. I'll leave a box for you. I turned and walked out, leaving her screaming sobs and David's stunned silence behind me. The drive home was a blur of white noise and searing pain. The initial shock gave way to a cold, clarifying fury. She hadn't just cheated. She had systematically lied, manipulated, and gaslit me for weeks, making me question my own reality. And that's when I made the decision that some might call nuclear. Isabella came from a very traditional, close-knit Italian family. Her father was a deacon in their church, her mother a pillar of their community. Isabella was their golden child, the successful, beautiful daughter who could do no wrong. They adored me, often telling me I was the son they never had. I opened my phone, found a group chat with her parents and her two brothers, and attached the video. I wrote, I'm so sorry to have to send this. I discovered tonight that Isabella has been lying about her study sessions for weeks. This is what was really happening. I'm heartbroken, and I thought you deserved to know the truth about the woman you're so proud of. I hit send. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Her mother called first, weeping, asking if it was a misunderstanding. Her father called next, his voice trembling with a fury I'd never heard, though it was directed at me for the public humiliation. Then her brothers called, one sympathetic, one enraged. Finally, my phone rang. It was Isabella. She was hysterical. How could you? You've destroyed me. My father won't speak to me. My mom is devastated. You've ruined my life. You did that yourself when you started sleeping with David, I said, my voice eerily calm. I just turned on the lights so everyone could see the mess. This was a mistake, a moment of weakness. We can fix this. I'll stop. We can go to counseling, she sobbed. A moment that lasted for weeks, I replied. There's nothing to fix. It's broken. The next day, while I was at work, she came with David and a friend to get her things. My neighbor, who knew the whole story, texted me updates. They loaded a rental van quickly. She left her key on the counter with a note scribbled on the back of a receipt. You didn't just break up with me. You tried to annihilate me. What you did was cruel and unforgivable. I hope your revenge was worth it. I read the note and felt a grim sense of closure. Honestly, it was. A text from Rachel came later. Heard what happened. I'm so sorry, Ben, but you did the right thing. For what it's worth, everyone at the office knows. David is married, and his wife found out. It's a whole HR nightmare for both of them. I hadn't even known he was married. The layers of betrayal just kept deepening. I didn't feel an ounce of pity for either of them. A week has passed now. The silence in the apartment is profound, but it's a peaceful silence, no longer charged with anxiety and lies. I'm sleeping through the night. I'm not constantly checking my phone. The weight is gone. I heard through the grapevine that Isabella is staying with a cousin. Her family, according to Rachel, is still reeling. Her father is apparently insisting she speak with their priest before he'll consider reconciliation. David was fired for fraternization and misconduct, given his senior position and his marital status. His wife has filed for divorce. I don't take pleasure in their suffering, but I do take solace in the truth being out in the open. The gaslighting is over. The narrative she crafted of the ambitious girlfriend and the insecure, controlling boyfriend has been shattered, replaced by the undeniable reality of that video. I trusted my gut, and while the path that led me down was painful, it led me out of a life built on deception. I'm free, and sometimes freedom, even when it's born from betrayal, is the only outcome that matters.